I suppose to explain to our listeners and to our viewers, why was this such an important issue that you decided to take up?
Well, I hadn't realised, really, nobody thought about it, that we allowed child marriage in the UK until I went to Bangladesh, where when we give international aid out to different developing countries, we ask them to stop child marriage. But when Bangladesh turned around and said, well, why should we listen to you? Because you do it. I realised actually then that we did have a problem and we couldn't go around preaching and asking people to change their laws if we didn't change ours. It took a long time to get through because many ministers felt that there were only a couple of hundred in the country each year it was relevant to. But what they hadn't realised was it's all the marriages where, as you said, taking out of the country to be married or having what are known as community marriages in the communities where it's not legal, but the parents and the children and the community believe it is, but they haven't legalised it by having a registrar there. Some of these children are not just 16 to 18, they are anything from the age of 10, 12 in England and Wales. And that to me was totally shocking when I realised that was happening. And that's why I got very determined that we were going to push this through. And the only way I could get it through was to get the government to support it. And I went to see Boris Johnson when he was Prime Minister, and he, when he understood the problem, got right behind it and supported me all the way.
And just to explain to our listeners and our viewers, this was through a process called a private member's bill, which you put down. Yes. And ordinarily, getting private members' bills to become law is incredibly difficult, isn't it?
It is almost impossible. And I had tried it twice through the 10-minute rule bill, which you can still go through that route. But unless you've got government support to get it through, they will find a mechanism to talk it out. And that's what would have happened had I not got the government to agree that it was important, that it was something that our government needed to back in order to stop these children being not just forced into marriage, but coerced into it. And also people who have been brought up to believe it is what normally happens. Well, it isn't what normally happens in England and Wales. It's just a number of communities that it happens in, and it's wrong. It's child abuse, because very often these children are married to people who are 30, 40. Well, that's obscene, frankly.
Yeah. And you made the comment in your opening remarks that you had been on an international trip and you were challenging Bangladesh about their young people marrying older people, and they said back to you, well, actually, what about your own laws? Do you think that this will send a message in terms of our international work as well?
Yes, I think it will. I think we put our house in order in in England and Wales. Sadly, not in Northern Ireland or in Scotland yet. In Scotland, you can even get married without parental permission at the age of 16, which is too young in this day and age. But I think, yes, it will send a message that the British government were determined, where it had the powers, that it would change things. And because we've now put that into legislation, not just to stop it, but to prosecute people who arrange it. If you are a parent or an aunt or a grandparent and you arrange for a child to be married, you can go to prison for 7 years. And that doesn't matter. They can even go to Scotland or to Northern Ireland. But if they normally live in England and Wales and they come back, they can be prosecuted.
Yeah.
But what I'd really like is for Northern Ireland and Scotland to follow suit. So it's a one-country policy.
Thank you. I was just going to finish by saying I hope you've sent a very positive message to Scotland and Northern Ireland as well, because it would be great if this was right across the UK. But Pauline, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon, and congratulations.